So my name is Kevin Walls, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Scottish Edge. Now, my role predominantly means just running the competition process from end to end. But I'm also tasked with the job of innovating the competition for the future. So I'm always keen to listen to applicants, listen to winners, listen to stakeholders on how the competition works at the moment, who it serves, and is it fit for serving our clients in future? Because we serve entrepreneurs, and the entrepreneurial landscape is changing on a daily basis. We've got lots of political change at the moment. We've got lots going on for business at the moment. So I need to make sure that I'm listening to our clients, our stakeholders, government as well, as to what's actually going on the ground. So I make sure that our competition is fit now, but also fit in 5 years for entrepreneurs in Scotland. Today, I've been supported with my colleague Jack Proctor. Jack Proctor is our marketing manager. And if you ever look at any Scottish Edge's wonderful marketing materials, especially the launch video, this is all Jack's idea. Very creative. Jack's brilliant. He's here today to support me with the Q&A. So Jack will be answering your questions as we go, and he's working the tech in the background. Although I think he's ordering me a new laptop with a mic that works as we speak. So what we're going to cover today is some key areas. We're going to quickly introduce you to Scottish Edge, who we are, what and why, if you've never entered a competition before. We'll go through our competition categories and explain them in detail. We'll go through all the crucial key dates. These are non-negotiable, so these are dates you'll have to get in your diary to consider. We'll talk about the application process itself. We'll talk about your 3-minute pitch video, if you've never done one. So what's it all about, how to put it together, what good looks like. We'll talk about the assessment process, so what do the judges do once they get your application form. We'll talk about top tips, and we'll do questions at the end. So let's talk about Scottish Edge. Who are we? Why are we here? So Scottish Edge was an initiative that was designed back in 2012, and it was actually identified back then that in the Scottish business landscape for early stage companies, there was a gap in funding for early stage, high growth potential businesses who were too early for investment, but too high risk for banks. So there was a scheme designed and started by Scottish Enterprise. And the competition was designed to give out £50,000 grants to early stage companies who were falling down this gap in the floorboards, if you like, around funding. It was very successful and very oversubscribed for 2 years. So it was decided to spin it out as its own legal entity. So Scottish Edge CIC was created. So around about 2014, December 2014, Scottish Edge KIC was designed and started. So we are a community interest company. We are a social enterprise. We are not for profit, and we're a very small team. We're only 7 people. Most people think we're, this big organisation with lots and lots of teams. That is not true. I'm the ops team. Jack's the marketing team. We've got a finance manager who's a finance team, and etc., etc. We're a small but agile team because we keep our costs low because we're a social enterprise. So over the years, Scottish Edge is spun out as a KIC. That was round 5. We're now on round 24. We've continued to grow every round. We attract over 200 applications every round, and we do this twice a year. And every round, we aim to award 1.5 million in funding. So why would someone apply to Scottish Edge? Well, we're open to all sectors, all geography, and all diversity. We can try and support as many different people as possible. And we're always willing to listen to how we can support more. This is a Scottish Edge. This is a Scottish competition. We're looking to support businesses that are headquartered in Scotland. The entrepreneur lives in Scotland, because there's 2 fundamentals Edge was set up to generate. One, to generate jobs in Scotland that are sustainable and long-term and well-paid. And 2, to build businesses that can generate revenue that can help contribute to the Scottish economy. That's the 2 foundations of Scottish Edge. That's what we're looking to achieve here by making these awards. And that's why your application process is set up in that vein. Another reason why people come to Edge is the feedback. Now, we've had this reported back from many, many applicants who come in multiple times to competition, that because we ensure that at every stage of the competition process, you get detailed feedback from your assessment panel, that adds real value to the journey. So we've had people go all the way to the final and not win, but they've said it's been really, really useful. Because if you come into the main edge category and you go all the way to the end and you don't win, it's very disappointing because you've put in a lot of work. But your application will have been seen by 12 different business professionals who have given you solid feedback on that proposal. That's valuable. That's really valuable feedback that you can take away, work on, and come back in a future round. We offer lots and lots of support for our applicants. Many organisations do, but I believe we offer another level of support. This workshop being one of them, and we also do, for the semi-final stage, we do a live pitching workshop as well. So we offer lots and lots of detailed support as you go through the process with Edge. We give access to a massive network for winners. We've got a big alumni network. We've got our own personal networks. So we've got a really strong network for people to tap into for you to grow your business. And because we have a loan element attached to our funds, so one of the categories in the Scottish Edge category is a loan grant mix, as is the social enterprise. We're very flexible funders. Now, we have a funding mechanism for a very specific reason. When Scottish Edge was spun out in 2015, it was quickly identified that because we were giving out grants in the early stages, that is not sustainable. We can't keep relying on Scottish Government grants. We need to create a revolving loan fund, which was created. And that loan fund generates interest, and that interest generates funds to help more and more entrepreneurs as the fund grows. So we are a lender, but we're a business support mechanism first with a lending element. So it's really crucial we get that clear. We're not a bank. We don't act like a bank. We are super quick with our clients when they come into financial difficulties. We take action. So that makes us a really flexible funder. And the loans that we give out are tied to the limited company. We don't take any personal guarantees, but I'll cover that later when we get into the kind of finance section of the workshop. We have been supported by 4 key organisations all the way through the life of Scottish Edge. Royal Bank of Scotland, they put in the initial money for the loan fund. The Hunter Foundation have been supporting us from the start with operational costs for staff. Scottish Government have continued to support us with grant funding for the grant elements of our awards. And Scottish Enterprise have been a huge supporter, not only giving us access to great people in Scottish Enterprise that can help our clients directly, but also they have been putting in the funding for the wildcard, the Young Edge grants as well. So what have we achieved in all this many years we've been going? Round 24 we're coming up to. We have processed over 5,000 applications. We've now got 635 winning businesses in our alumni. So that's a massive alumni network. We've awarded over 26 million in funding in loans and grants. And our winners cover all corners of Scotland and all sectors. So what's on offer? So the 4 categories in Scottish Edge. So the Scottish Edge category is the main Edge category. So that's the loan grant element. So that's where you can apply for up to £100,000, and that's a 30% grant and 70% loan split. So if you secure £100,000 in funding, you'll be getting £30,000 grant, £70,000 loan. The company structure to apply for that has to be a limited company. It has to be a business entity of some kind. So it can be a limited company, social enterprise, a KIC, or a charity. Because with the loan element, that loan element cannot be given to an individual. It has to be given to a business entity. So that's why for the Scottish Edge, with the loan element, it has to be a business entity of such. If you're applying to the social enterprise Edge category and you're seeking up to £75,000 of funding, that is flipped in loan grant ratio. So that's a 70% grant and a 30% loan. Now that's backed up by our sponsors for this award, and they've kindly agreed that for a social enterprise in the early days, reducing the debt burden is crucial. So they've given us a little bit more funding to support that. So if you're a social enterprise coming into social enterprise Edge category, seeking £75,000, that's 70% grant and 30% loan. If you're a young business and you're thinking of applying for the Young Edge category, so this is a business that you're applying for up to £15,000, one of the top awards, but the majority of them are £10,000. These are grant only, so there's no loan elements in these. To be eligible for the Young Edge category, the founder or founders must be age 30 or younger. It must be a registered business entity of some kind. So again, it's got to be a limited company, social enterprise, KIC or charity. However, you can also be a sole trader or partnership. Okay, so that's classed as an entity of some kind because there's no loan element, so it doesn't have to be a limited company. You can be a sole trader or a partnership for a young age because it's only a grant. If you're thinking about applying for the wildcard, this is specifically for pre-trading early stage ideas. So you're looking for a grant to take your idea to whatever TRL level. You might be looking to do some customer validation, do an MVP. And again, that's for a grant only up to £15,000. So pre-trading ideas, it can be a business entity limited, but it can also be a sole trader or partnership. So a clear definition here. If you're a pre-trading idea, go for wildcard. If you're a business that's maybe started, you've got a little bit of trading, and one of your founders is under 30 years old, look at young. Okay, so trading and pre-trading, that's the two differences with the young and the wild. We've also got special category awards, and these are special recognition awards by these key partners down the left-hand side, and I'll talk you through what that actually means. So all special category awards will be awarded to someone who secures a Scottish Edge award, and they can also receive the additional award. So Creative UK, they sponsor us with funding to give out up to £100,000 in funding, which is 30% grant, 70% loan in the Scottish Edge category. And on top of that, you get an additional award of being the Creative UK winner for a special award for creative sector businesses. So that's over and above your award, and that can come with additional perks, which we'll cover later. We also have a Scale Edge Award, sponsored by the Royal Bank of Scotland. And again, that's up to £100,000 of funding, 30% grant, 70% loan. And you get the recognition of being the identified Royal Bank of Scotland business with scale potential. So a real focus on scale, and it can give you access to additional support from RBS. If you're a product-based business and you like the idea of getting on STV, then STV Growth Edge, sponsored by STV, can give you, on top of any Edge award, an additional £75,000 worth of ad spend on STV. So that's a huge chunk of ad spend on national television. That's on top of any Edge award that you secure. We have our Zero Waste Scotland supported Circular Economy Edge Award, and that's a special award that focuses on businesses with a strong circular focus. And again, that's backed up by Zero Waste Scotland, who have very kindly supported with up to £100,000 of funding, and that's a 30% grant and 70% loan as standard in the Scottish Edge category. Then finally, we've got our Pathways Edge Award. This is supported by Scottish Government. And this is a special recognition award for female-founded businesses. And again, that's up to £100,000 of an award, 30% grant, 70% loan. But this is sponsored by the Scottish Government, so they're looking to highlight a strong female-founded business. And that business will be awarded the Pathways Edge Award as well. So these eligibility points here, these 5 points are non-negotiable, and these must apply to all applicants in all categories. So must be pre-trading or have been trading for less than 5 years. When we say trading is when you start generating revenue, generating income, your first customers. If you've got a limited company and it's been lying dormant for 4 years, and then you start trading, you open it back up, the 4 years of lying dormant doesn't count as trading. It's only when you start generating revenue from customers, that's when your trading timeline starts. So it's crucial to bear that in mind. It's a common question we get asked. The business must be headquartered in Scotland and the founder resident in Scotland. This is about building companies based in Scotland. This is about working with founders resident in Scotland. So this is about growing companies based here. If you're trading, your current sales turnover must be less than £1 million per annum. And if you've raised investment, must be less than £500,000 investment to come into the competition. Also, 50% of the business ownership has to be attributed to the directors actively working in the business. Now, what that means is when we have a winner coming into Scottish Edge, you get access to a relationship manager who will do the onboarding process. They'll identify what support you need. We want to be working with the decision makers in the business. So the business ownership has to be, for the person applying, 50% or more of the company. That's the people we want to be working with, because these are the decision makers in moving the business forward. Every applicant must have ambitions to generate an additional £200,000 turnover over the next 3 years after the money. Now, what that means is that's a cumulative figure. And in your 3 years projections, we'll be asking you to predict that you can generate an additional £200,000. Now, if you're an early stage, I'm going to use life sciences as an example because it's the best example to use here. If you're an early stage life sciences business and you need money from Scottish Edge to take you to tier level 9, but you want to start generating revenue for 5 years, that's okay. You will start putting in your trading figures from 2029 or whenever you predict your trading will start. Because it's really crucial that the judges understand when are you actually going to start generating revenue, but how are you going to fund that in between bit. So if you need money from Edge to take you to a certain place, but it's going to be a year or 2 years before you start generating revenue, your 3-year projections will start from when you start generating revenue. Okay, you'll adjust that in your application form to show that, and you can put some narrative in the free text box to explain what that means. But all applicants have to be showing that they're generating an additional £200,000 in revenue after the win and creating jobs as well. So what does the process look like depending on the category you're going through? You'll go into the portal and you'll select one of the 4 categories: Scottish Edge, Social Edge, Young or Wild. You'll complete your application online. You'll submit your 3-minute pitch video using the guidance provided. You'll go to first stage assessment. So all applicants will be assessed independently. They'll be reviewed and they will be given feedback on if they've been successful or not. Everyone gets feedback. If you're successful in the Scottish Edge category, you'll take the top flow chart, you'll go to a semi-final where you will pitch online in a Zoom room to 4 judges for 3 minutes. You'll then be asked questions for up to 13 minutes, and that'll be a closed environment. That's an online Zoom room. If you're successful at the semi-final stage, you'll then get through to the live final. That's going to be in Edinburgh. That's a live audience. That'll be on stage in front of 4 new judges. You'll pitch for 3 minutes. You'll be questioned for 10 minutes. And at the end of those pitching days, there'll be 2 finals in one day. At the end of those final days, the judges will select their winners. And they will also select, in conjunction with the sponsors, they'll select the special category awards. Now, if you come into Young or Wild or Social Enterprise Edge, if you get through first stage, you'll take the bottom flow. So from first stage, you go straight to a final. There's no semi-final for Social, Young or Wild. Straight to the final from first stage if you get through that. So Social Enterprise Edge final will be an in-person event, usually in Edinburgh, in front of a panel of 4 people, pitch for 3 minutes, Q&A for 10, and the judges decide on the winner. The Young Edge will be online. That will be 2 final days online. And you'll come online to Zoom room, pitch for 3 minutes. You'll be questioned for 10 minutes by a panel, and they will decide who the winners are over the 2 Young Edge days. There'll be one wildcard Edge final, and those 4 judges the same. You'll come in, online room, pitch for 3 minutes, Q&A for 10, and the wildcard judges will decide who gets the funds from there. So one of the common questions we get asked is, this is a competition, what are my chances of winning? Why should I come into this competition? It is a competition, let's be clear about this. You have to compete. You have to write a strong application, a good pitch video. You have to be prepared to be questioned to secure these funds. It's not easy, but we'll get plenty of winners, we'll get plenty of alumni who show the value in coming through this process and what it can mean to them to grow their business. So based on applications from the last round, we had 213 applications in total. We had 86 businesses apply for the Scottish Edge category. We had 15 winners. So that was a 17% chance of winning. In a Young Edge category, we had 51 applied with 12 winners. That was 23% chance of winning. Wildcard was an anomaly last round. We had 66 businesses apply. That was very high. That was much higher than normal. We had 7 winners from that batch. So that was a 10% roughly chance of securing funding. And from the Social Enterprise Edge, we had 13 really, really strong businesses who applied in that process, and we had 1 winner. So that was a 7% chance. And the number of Social Enterprise Edge applicants does fluctuate from round to round. So that was quite high, getting 13 in the last round through. Key dates, these really have to be getting jotted down or take a screen print, or they're on a website as well. So as you know, we are open for applications as from 14th of August. So the portal is there, ready to go. We've already got, I think we've got 120 applications in already. So we're already off and running. The window will close at 11th of September, 2 p.m. sharp. I cannot stress this enough. There will be no leeway beyond 2 p.m. on 11th of September to submit your application. My advice is always the same at these application workshops. When your application is done, when you're happy with it, submit it and walk away. Don't leave it open. Don't go back to it. Don't tweak it. Don't twist it. Don't keep making edits to it. When you're happy with it, submit it. Because anything that's not submitted before 2 p.m. on 11th of September will not be accepted. Okay, so write that down. My advice is get it in on the 10th of September. Don't leave it to the 11th of September. You might find you've got a meeting in there. You need to go to doctors. You've got technical issues. Don't even leave it to the 11th. You've got plenty of time between now and the 10th to get an application in. So I would suggest you all get it in by the 10th, just to give you leeway. First stage assessment results will be out by the 2nd of October. So you'll know by the 2nd of October if you're going through to the next stage. If you're going through the Scottish Edge process and you get to semi-final, these are the dates, 5 semi-finals. There'll be 10 businesses in each semi-final. So 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 29th and 30th of October will be the 5 semis. If you're coming through the Young Edge process, there'll be 2 Young Edge final days on the 5th and 6th of November. That's online. If you come through Wildcard and you get to the final, that's on the 12th of November. That will be online. If you're coming through Social Enterprise Edge, that will be the 4th of November. And that is, I think that's actually supposed to be the 14th of November, Jack. You might want to check that. Social Enterprise Edge, that will be an in-person day in Edinburgh. We'll clarify that date before the end of this call. And the 28th of November is the Scottish Edge final, and that's, we're holding 2 finals in one day. So we normally have 2 final days on separate days, sometimes in the same venue, sometimes in different venues. We're trying this slightly differently. The 28th of November, it will be in the Royal Bank of Scotland Conference Centre in Edinburgh, and we'll be holding 1 final in 1 room, and the other final will be in the conference area itself. So that's a trial this round to make sure we can get 2 done in the one day. But it'll be the 28th of November if you're successful in getting through to the Scottish Edge final. So how do you apply? The Scottish Edge website and portal is open. This is an old graphic. Obviously, this says round 23 is open, but round 24 is open. You go to the website, click apply here. You'll register for the portal if you've not already registered. So you'll need to register an account on the Scottish Edge portal. And when you get in, there's all this guidance here as to how to complete this. If you're not registered, get in as soon as possible. Familiarise yourself with what it is. You don't have to sit and complete the whole application from end to end. You can complete a section, save it, come back. So if you look at the screen, I know it's going to be quite small, but there are 8 sections under application questions. And when you've ticked the box to say you've completed that section, it will go green. As you can see, this screen, the funding section is green. If you've started it and you've not finished it, it will go orange. So as you can see, utilisation of funding here is orange because it's been started and not completed, and anything in white has not been started. Okay, so we'll give you guidance on where you're actually at in completion. There's lots of notes in here. You can review and print your application. There's the button to click how to complete it. So get in here as early as possible, familiarise yourself, and there's also a guide on how to create a video link and submit it. So we request that you do it on YouTube. Make it private. You don't make it a public video. Make it unlisted. And the guidance for the video link is on the competition brochure. So if you download a competition brochure from our website, it gives you all the guidance you need on submitting your video link as well. Now, there is a box there for a video link password. We would ask you not to include a password. It just creates an extra barrier for judges. Unless you've got really sensitive information in your video, then please try and avoid video link passwords, because sometimes it doesn't work very well. So I'd ask you, if at all possible, please avoid it. Your videos will not be shared with anyone outside the judging panels and the Scottish Edge team. So your videos will not be shared externally, so your information is secure and safe. So we've put in some extra details on submitting great financials. Now, our finance manager, Andy, is a whiz at finances, so he's put together some really useful information for you to consider. One of the key things to consider when you log on to the website is you'll be asked to select if you're trading or pre-trading. Make sure you select this tick box correctly, because that will determine how the application is worded and how you actually complete your application when it comes to your financials. Because if you're trading, your year one will be next year, and your year two will be 2 years away, and so on and so forth. But if you're pre-trading, your year one could be 2 years away or 3 years away, so on and so forth. So you'll get a chance to put in the dates of when you will be trading or pre-trading. But it's really important you'd select the correct button if you're a trading or pre-trading business. We want applicants to submit ambitious but achievable sales, profit and job projections. What we mean by achievable is backing them up by credible projections. So Andy's created some numbers here as just an example to show you, if you've got a B2B channel, how are you going to generate your total revenue? So an idea is to, in the free text box, you're going to put in year one, we'll have 5 customers, year two will have 20, year three will have 40, units per customer, average item price, average unit price, total revenue generated and gross margin. So these are some examples. These are not hard and fast rules, but these are some examples of how to break down your sales projections. Where is it going to come from? Okay. If you're an online channel selling, how many customers you're going to generate over the years, units per customer, again, average unit price, total revenue and gross margins. And if you have both channels, you're going to total that up. What's your total revenue? What's your total gross margin? What's your total net margin? This is not, this is an example of how do you break that down to show credible growth in your 3 years. We don't want to see hockey stick numbers in year 3, because 99 times out of 100, it's not achievable. The judges want to look at financial projections that are believable and backable, and you can back these up with this kind of breakdown. Okay, so this is a guide from our finance manager to help you show where this growth is going to come from and what that trajectory would actually look like. And don't forget putting in your costs. So rather than just putting a total cost, what is your total cost breakdown? So how much you plan to spend on marketing, on salaries, on any other items? What's your total cost, and how does that affect your net profit and loss? We expect sometimes to see businesses with losses for the first 2 or even 3 years, as long as you can show in your future funding section how you plan to fund those losses. So is that grant funding? Is it equity investment? Is it crowdfunding? What is a method you plan to help you fund any shortage in any gap in funding over the next 3 years? Okay, so it's okay to show a loss as long as you can explain how you're going to cover those losses in the growth of your business at the early stage. So some examples of how you can back up your figures with clear assumptions. So you might put down that your customer growth picks up monthly as we progress through year 2 due to increased brand awareness and online presence. You could say that your average selling price will reduce to allow us to gain volume, although this can increase again as the brand becomes more recognized. You might say your B2B margins lower as bulk volume deliveries. So these, again, just some example of wording you can put down. So your gross margin above reflects production and shipping costs only. There's different ways you can explain your numbers to bring context to what the numbers are actually saying. So you don't have to make it War and Peace, but some examples like this help the judges understand the context behind your numbers. Final few points around finances then. So businesses have to estimate their turnover, so their sales revenue, net profit and jobs created over a 3-year period on the application. Once you get through the first stage of the Scottish once you get through the first stage of the Scottish Edge and the Social Edge category, you'll be asked to complete a cash flow forecast before the semi-final stage, but we'll cover all that when you get to that stage. And we do that because if you're applying for Scottish Edge for a loan element, we have to assess cash flow for loan affordability. All awards are paid in 2 tranches, and the tranches are 50% each. So if you secure £100,000 in funding, you'll get £50,000 in your first tranche, and that will be made up of loan and grant, as will your second tranche. And the second tranche is paid on evidence of expenditure against the agreed milestones and the submission of a cash flow forecast. So that's if you're a winner. You get the money in 2 tranches, and we have a check-in progress report in between the 2 tranches effectively. So if you've never done a pitch video before, this is in our brochure, this is on our website, and on our website there's examples of great pitch videos. This is a suggested structure for how do you tell the story of your business in 3 minutes. These are some of the headlines that we've tried and tested over the years that judges want to hear. So you can do your introduction, get the judges on the hook. This is exciting. What is it you're talking about? Talk about your problem. What problem are you solving? Who's it for? What is your solution? What's the market size and revenue model? Who's your competition? What are your risks? Who's the team behind this? And remember, it might only be you. You might be a solo entrepreneur. So include your business support team. So any business advisors at Business Gateway, anyone from Scottish Enterprise, anyone from any other organisation who's backing you up with advice and guidance. It could be a mentor. They can be part of your team as well. Talk about the traction. What have you achieved to date before potentially securing Scottish Edge? And don't forget your ask. You're looking for funding. What is it for? What does it mean to you? Or what would it mean to you? And how would it move your business forward? This is a suggested structure. You can do the structure any way you like, but this is a guide to show you what are the judges listening and looking for in your pitch video, because your pitch video is the introduction to your application. 9 judges out of 10 will watch your 3-minute video to get an overview of what it is. Then they'll dive into your application to really get under the bonnet of it. So make your pitch video clear, concise, and a really strong introduction. Get them excited so that they dive into that application form. They're really looking forward to hearing more about your business. The assessment criteria, as you'll see here in these 6 hexagons, that is exactly the same as the layout of the application form. So we ask you lots of questions on value proposition. We ask you lots of questions on team, lots on impact, customer focus, business growth, and utilisation of funding. So the judges will score your application on these 6 key areas. Now, all our assessors are taken from Scotland's Business Eco Support System and sometimes even beyond. We've had final judges fly in from Canada to do this, ex-Scots from the Global Scot Network who fly in just to do this because they love Scottish Edge so much and they want to give back, they want to lend their expertise. So we bring in Scottish-based experts to judge your applications. We always make sure that our judging panels are a male-female split. So we've always got 4 judges and we always ensure we've got 2 male and 2 female. All assessors will be given the application forms and videos to review ahead of their respective assessment day. We try and make the assessment days, especially in the semi-final, sector specific. So we try and get people with relevant background around science or technology and engineering, and we try and get experienced people on those panel days to bring their really detailed level of sector knowledge. Assessors come together for the assessment session after reading the applications. They'll do the 3-minute, they'll see you in the 3-minute pitch, the semi-final, they'll do your Q&A, and they'll make their decisions from there as a team of judges. Each section of the assessment criteria is scored out of 5 for each assessment standard, and judges will use that scoring to determine the strongest scoring businesses and also what they've heard and what they've seen at the pitches. And rest assured, all assessors have to sign confidentiality agreements before they're given any access to application forms. So your IP, confidential information, commercially sensitive information is secure because every single judge signs a confidentiality agreement. Touch wood, in the 12 years of Edge, there's never been a breach in confidentiality. So your information is safe and secure, and the judges have to sign confidentiality agreements. So just quickly, on the 6 key criteria areas, the judges are looking for this information. So in value proposition, they want to know what the product or service is clearly articulated. Is there a good awareness of the competition? Is there a clear point of difference? And are the risks understood? And all these questions that the judges ask themselves are actually the questions we've put into the application form. So if you actually read the application form and you answer those questions clearly and concisely, you're giving the judges the information that they need to score your 6 key areas strongly. So keep referring back to the questions in the portal under value proposition. Keep those questions in mind, read it back, have you answer those questions clearly and concisely, and use that as your test point to make sure that you've answered each section clearly for what the judges are looking for. Now, one of the sections that we get asked about regularly is impact. And when it comes to impact, especially if you're an early stage business, we're asking you to determine, what kind of social, economic, or environmental impact will you have? What is your circular economy focus? And this sometimes can get people scratching their heads, especially if they're at early stages. What we're looking for here is we're looking for businesses that can explain how you're going to build into the fabric and foundation of your business going forward, the ambition to achieve social impact, the ambition to have economic impact, and the ambition to have environmental impact, and how you're thinking about your business with a circular economy focus. So this is about how you bake that in at the early stages. We're not looking for you to completely build your whole business model around it, but we want you to be thinking about it. So we've taken some feedback from the last round, and we are now going to bring in an expert from Zero Waste Scotland to talk about circular economy. And what does that actually mean? Because we've had lots of feedback over the kind of last few rounds as to how do I actually explain that? What am I looking for to explain in my application form? How do I have a circular economy focus? So I'm just going to bring in Leslie McMurtry from Zero Waste Scotland. Leslie is a partner in business support at Zero Waste Scotland, and she's a specialist in circular economy. So Leslie, if you are there, can you just let me know?
I am. I'm here.
Excellent. Thank you, Leslie. I'm just going to hand over to you now, and I will let you go ahead. I will just move your screen forward to the first slide. Over to you, Leslie.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Kevin. Good morning, everybody, and I'm delighted to be part of the workshop. And as Kevin said, my name is Leslie McMurtry, and I'm a partner in the Circular Economy Business Support Team at Zero Waste Scotland. During the next few slides, I am firstly going to cover what we mean by the circular economy, then provide a summary of the different approaches a business can take to embed circularity, and then finally give you some hints and tips on how to answer the circularity application question and what kind of information we're looking for in your answer. So, what is the circular economy? The circular economy is a shift in the way we think about products. We live in a world of finite resources where global population and consumption growth are driving increased vitality in the supply of raw materials. For example, in the past 5 years, we've imported about £50 million worth of gold into Scotland, hidden away in our TVs, mobile phones and computers, but we'll recover just a tiny fraction of that. As another example, the equivalent of one rubbish truck of textiles is landfilled or burnt every second across the world. These are clear examples of our linear economy, one that we have followed since the Industrial Revolution. We take resources from the ground to make products, we use them, and when we no longer want them, we throw them away. This linear approach has to change, and by making a fundamental shift in the way we design products and services, the circular economy provides the solution. In a circular economy, economic activity is based on the continuous circulation of products and materials. A circular economy eliminates the concept of waste and instead views products as temporary repositories of materials that will subsequently become the inputs for new products in the future. And as the slide shows, the circular economy is based on 3 principles. 1, designing out waste and pollution. 2, keeping products and materials in use for as long as possible. And 3, regenerating natural systems. Next slide, please. Here at Zero Waste Scotland, we have identified 9 different models or approaches to conducting business in a more circular manner. Some are more well known, while others require a slightly different way of thinking about how we purchase products. To start, our first model, circular design, focuses on thinking about the circularity of a product from the very outset of its design. Can the product be easily repaired? Can batteries be replaced? Can it be constructed in a modular way to allow ease of replacement parts or of modifications in future? Can the materials be easily recycled at the end of the product's life? The second model is resource recovery, taking your own or another's waste or byproduct and turning it into something else. For example, utilising construction waste in bricks or turning brewery spent grain into a cracker ingredient. Enabling technologies relates to new tools and systems that aid our transition towards a circular economy. For example, advanced robotics aiding recycling sorting, asset tracking aiding packaging reuse, or sharing platforms and apps enabling the circulation of surplus food or products. Product as a service and leasing are similar approaches that require us to think differently about ownership. In these models, the business retains ownership of the product and instead sells the service of the product to the individual or allows them to lease it for a specific time period. For example, paper wash for a washing machine, hiring an outfit for a wedding, or signing up to a returnable toy subscription for your children. Remanufacture is the dismantling and refurbishment of a product to match or exceed the quality of the original. This extends the life and inherent value of the product. Reuse is using products for as long as possible in its original form. For example, reusable cups, or creating second-hand markets or embedded returnable packaging solutions. Repair is simply extending the life of a product by maintaining or fixing them, but this clearly relates back to design and whether the product is repairable. And finally, the sharing economy, such as tool libraries, where products can be accessed easily and cheaply by multiple users, or peer-to-peer sharing circulating resources within a local community. For each of these, we've provided a basic example of how a business might incorporate circularity into their business. These illustrate that your whole business doesn't necessarily have to be circular. However, you can take small steps to start the transition towards a more environmental business. Next slide, please. Oh, let's quickly go through those. That's lovely, thank you. So, looking now at the circular economy question in the application, we have provided some prompts to help you to answer it. Provide detail on your existing or proposed circular practice. Which of the 9 circular models that I just mentioned does it relate to? How will it function on a practical level? How have you embedded or intend to embed the solution into the business to ensure its success, i.e. customer communication? Is it built into policies or embedded in the supply chain, etc.? What are the realised or anticipated savings associated with this approach, i.e. carbon savings, waste or packaging savings, water or energy savings? These don't need to be exact, just estimates that are fine, and we don't expect full carbon impact assessments. Just focus on an alternative metric such as waste if you're not sure of conversion factors. Have you received any external support and created any partnerships to help make this solution become a reality? Have you secured a solution from a like-minded business to help you develop your idea? Or have you received support from advice agencies like Zero Waste Scotland or environmental consultancies? And finally, how long has this solution been embedded into the business? If it is not yet operational, what are your anticipated timeframes? Hopefully this has been helpful for your application, and we look forward to receiving them, and obviously happy to take any questions later.
Leslie, thank you very much. It's great to have an expert explain this because that was really well explained, so thank you for that. As you said, Leslie will be here at the end for Q&A. I can also see there's plenty of chat going on, so I'm going to move on to the last few slides. So here's some top tips. Let's start summarising everything up. Submitting a great application. So just to recap, make it easy for the assessors to understand your business and don't leave the assessors with lots of unanswered questions. So if you've read the questions in the application form, you've answered the questions clearly and concisely, you've looked at all the materials we've got on our website and all the guidance we've got, then you shouldn't leave the judges with too many unanswered questions. You want the judges to watch your video, read your application, and think, this is an amazing idea. I want to ask them more detailed questions. I want to ask really deep diving questions to get under the bonnet of this. Know the assessment criteria as you go through. Keep referring back to the criteria, the questions. Make sure it's clear. Clearly outline your point of difference. What makes you different, and make sure you've tested this against your competitor analysis. What makes you stand out? Be realistic, but ambitious with your financial forecasting and explain how you'll achieve it. So hopefully the information we've given you helps you better to put context behind your sales projections and assumptions. One of the key areas where applications fall down is customer focus and customer engagement. Make sure you detail real customer engagement. What I mean by real customer engagement is, how many customers have you spoken to? What have you asked them? Especially if you're pre-trading, if you're an early stage idea. How many have you spoken to? What have you asked them? What have you learned? What does that mean for your business? Please just don't quote stats on a sector. Don't quote percentages of, because without the quantity of how many people that is, that doesn't actually add any value to your statement. So the judges want to hear about real customer face-to-face or focus group or engagement, some kind of engagement that's tangible. What will you be spending the money on? Simplify the breakdown. The judges don't need to know you're spending £20 on a hammer or £50 on whatever it is, but they need to have that rounded up. So if it's marketing and you want to spend 50k, what are the 4 or 5 key things in marketing you hope to spend that money on? So make it clear, simplify it, but also make it concise. Consider your impact intentions. So again, Leslie's giving you lots of great things to think about around circular. If you're projecting sales growth and job growth, you're already looking at economic impact, but how do you affect societal impact? What does that actually mean beyond creating well-paid jobs? Print or download a copy of your application if you wish and keep that. A lot of people come back to me after they're submitted and say, I forgot to download my application. Can you send me a copy? That can be done, but it could take a while to get that done. So you're better just at the end, once you're happy, download it, keep it. That's it, you've got it. Double check your form and don't leave anything blank. So you can't actually miss a section because you have to tick at the bottom of each section to see you've completed it. But judges want to read detail in each section. Now, I'm not saying fill every box for the sake of filling it. If you don't have something to say, keep it brief, but don't leave any sections blank. It's an opportunity for you to sell your idea, sell your business. Use that opportunity. And additional support can be available for any applicants with neurodivergent or neurodiverse conditions. So if you feel that this process is really, really testing you with a good business idea, please get in contact with me directly. My email address is available, kevin.walls@scottishedge.com. If you feel that some specific additional support would benefit you, please get in touch and we'll do our best to support. We're already looking ahead to round 25 to potentially bringing in some partners to support with wider support for entrepreneurs and applicants with a range of neurodiverse conditions. But at the moment, we will do our best to support if anyone feels they need additional support needs. Please get in touch. What about the video? If you've never done the video before, the panel want to see who's behind this idea. They want to see your passion. They want to believe your idea. They want to see the entrepreneur. So don't have a slide deck with a voice in the background. They want to know who's behind this. So get your face on camera. It can be really challenging, but they want to see who's behind this. They want to see who's got the passion for this. Showcase your product or service. So make it clear what it is you do and who you do it for, whether it's a product or a service. Make sure that the judges know exactly what it is and never have a judging panel say, so what is this? Involve your team and possibly your customers. So if you have a team member, you might want to have a picture of them explaining who they are, what their expertise is. If you've got a customer, you might want to have a quote from your customer. That's absolutely fine. Your video is not Hollywood quality. We're not looking for a Spielberg production. You can literally do this on your phone. Set your phone up on your desk, talk to your phone for 3 minutes, record. That's all the judges are looking for. You can add graphics, you can add slides if you want, if you're good with this. But as long as it's adding value, don't make it detract from, you know, what the judges are trying to hear. So, for example, I remember watching a pitch video where someone recorded it on their phone walking down a windy street in Aberdeen, and you couldn't hear a word they were saying, and they never listened to it back. So it added zero value to the application, and they didn't get through first stage because their application form wasn't very good. So watch a video back, make sure it's clear, make sure it's finished, make sure it's within the 3 minutes, no more than 3 minutes 10. If you submit a video that's more than 3:10, 3:30 or beyond, the judges will not watch it to the end. They don't have time. So you're wasting your time. Keep it down to 3 minutes, 3 minutes 10 max. The judges will watch that. But if you send in a 4, 5, 6, 7 minute video, the judges won't watch it beyond 3. So don't waste your time because it won't get seen. Be natural and engaging. You can have auto cue and notes. That's okay. If that helps you settle, if it takes the pressure off you and it helps you tell your story, that's fine. The judges don't mind that. So your application form and video makes up the combined submission. So you don't necessarily need to repeat everything from the video in your application. You can tell your story in video slightly differently from what you write in your application, but it has to be, you know, the two of them have to join. They can't be completely different. Use the unlisted option on YouTube to give yourself plenty of time for uploading your video. Don't leave that to the last minute. That can cause lots of issues. Now, if you've never used YouTube or never used the unlisted function, it's all in a brochure. It shows you how to do it. So there's lots of guidance there, and just Google it. It's really simple to do. And watch your video back before you submit it. So if you secure Scottish Edge funding, it's more than just the money. All applicants receive feedback at all stages. Over 50% of our winners have won it in the second, third, or fourth time of applying. If you're a winner, you get access to a support package from your key stakeholders and partners, Harper McLeod, Johnson Carmichael, James Hallam Insurance, and many, many, many more. You get to join the Edge alumni, so you can reach out to other Edge winners for guidance, support, connections, and you can have access to a dedicated Scottish Edge relationship manager as well. So it's question time. I'm going to rest my voice. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to bring in Jack. I can see lots of chat going on there. I've now got a screen full of faces. Jack, let's get over to you. How is the Q&A going? Do we have anything unanswered?
I think there's probably going to be one or two that I'll find. It was quiet for half the session, then everyone came at once. So I'm trying.
That was my guidance, Jack. I'm sorry, I overloaded you.
I'm trying. So I'm playing catch up. So I think one was just a little bit of clarity around someone saying that they looked at the examples we have for the application pitch video, and they said they haven't seen one for a pre-trading business. So is there anything different you would maybe want to include in there, or kind of same guidance?
That's a good spot. We haven't noticed that. We'll have a look at that to make sure we get a pre-trading video up there because we've got plenty of examples of them. Fundamentally, no, there is no difference. Whether you're trading or pre-trading, that doesn't really sway the judges too much. If you're pre-trading, you get traction. From a traction point of view, that shows you've got some paying customers. But the pitch video for pre-trading, the format is still the same. You're still telling the same story. You're telling a story of what you will achieve and you hope to achieve with this funding. So it doesn't really change as such. It's how you project that story on what you will achieve with this funding.
Perfect. Thank you. So one about the circular economy element. So someone's asking, is it okay not to have any circular economy practices in your business, especially if you're strictly online and not product led?
Not knowing anything about the actual detail, I presume they're providing a service. I mean, it may very well be that there isn't anything. I mean, if they're not providing materials, if they're not using materials, then potentially it's just slightly difficult to answer when you don't really know the ins and out. If they want to put some more details, I can, take it offline or what have you and respond specifically to that question if that would be easier, or if the person wants to answer today.
Okay.
So, Jack, I'll step in there if that's okay. So I'm happy if the person asking the question wants to email me directly.
Right.
I can go to Leslie, we can get a clear answer on that. My previous kind of knowledge of this was that even if you don't have, if your business as it stands at the moment is very much a standalone online business, you don't see any circular in it, think about that going forward from Scottish Edge point of view. Looking forward to 3 years, what do you hope you might have circular in your business model in future? Because you're going to, hopefully you'll have people employed. How are they going to work? You know, what is your values going to be? How are you going to build circular into your model going forward? That's maybe something to think about, but I'm happy for you to email me directly and we can connect you with Leslie for some clarity.
But that was a very good answer, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So just another one there, just someone concerned about, you know, disclosing information at the final in a public forum. Essentially, how can you do that while still, you know, intending to secure patents and things in the future?
Okay, so we have if you get to a final Scottish Edge and that's in a public forum, we have got a process where you can submit additional confidential information to the judges beforehand. So we'll ask you to email that in and we'll provide that to the judges in a secure environment so they can read that information. So effectively they'll be aware of what they can and can't ask you on stage. But these are experienced people. They won't ask you detailed financial numbers. They might ask you about your patent, but and if you get IP secured or who owns the IP, but they won't deep dive and disclose anything. So if you want to share any confidential information with the judges at the final stage, you can do.
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, I mean, I'll be doing these in order, but if I've not jumped your question, I will come back to it if I don't answer it straight away. So someone asking if they already have a promo video that they've had made, can they submit that, or would it need to be, you know, edited specifically for Edge?
I've seen promo videos before. As long as the promo video itself gives the judges a good overview of all elements of the business, because if a promo video just talks about the selling of the product, that doesn't tell the judges about the team, about the market size, the revenue model. These are all the key things that judges want to hear off the bat in your video, and then they'll read about it in detail. So consider that. What content is in the promotional video? Because my experience of promotional videos, they're very top line, they're very salesy, they're talking about the product or the service, and they don't explain the detail of who's in the team, the experience, the traction to date, and all the good stuff that the judges want to hear.
Perfect, thank you. So someone essentially asking if you can apply for more than one category?
No, you have to select one category, I'm afraid, so be decisive, go for that category, compete in that one category.
Okay, thank you. And also just to say, if anyone wants to turn on a mic and ask a question, feel free to do that as well. Kind of save me trying to...
Can I just get clarity on that question thing? So I know the categories around Young Edge and the creative, and there's various other ones, but I'm a female entrepreneur with a consumer-led product. And so I was planning to apply for the STV Growth Fund, but there's also the option to go for the pathways. And so in theory, I would fit in either. So like, do I just choose one?
Yeah, choose one, because choose your preferred, because the judges will decide.
Okay.
They'll look at the eligibility of the business in terms of either. But if you prefer, if you would rather, if you get a business you want to be an STV, tick the STV. If you want to be recognized as a strong female leader, you tick the pathways first. But the judges look at all businesses across. So if you're not successful in one, you may well be successful in the other, even though you haven't ticked that.
Kev, can I just clarify though? Sorry, Kev, can I just clarify, at the application period, you can't currently check a special award category. Those are, so the main edge you would go for, and perhaps mentioning your application that you've got a focus on one of those special awards.
Yes.
But the actual award itself, is chosen from the finalists in the main edge category. So it'll be the award sponsor essentially has the say on who's the most suitable for that in the end, along with the panel. So
I understand that, but it does ask us on the form, I've got it in front of me just now, that you do choose which one you would like to be like associated to. I know you don't necessarily win that, but like you do choose which ones you want to be, what's the words it says here?
Eligible.
Yeah, and it also says on the form, like, where appropriate, please tick one or more boxes. So it's just it's just worth maybe just double checking that, because it's a little bit different to what it says on the form.
Okay, so that's something we'll take away for the customer journey, because obviously that isn't clear at the moment. My advice is that you tick So if, in your case, Gemma, you talked about STV, you talked about Pathways, tick both of those. What the
Okay.
judges will do at the final, once you've secured an EDGE award, they will then look at the category awards on top of that.
Yeah.
So they'll be
Okay.
decided if you secure funding, then they'll look at these category awards. So they'll look at your eligibility
Yeah.
for each category, and they will consider the ones that you've actually ticked as well. So sorry for the confusion.
No,
but
that's fine. I
points.
ticked those boxes in the form, and then when someone said on the call, like, you don't choose it, I was like, okay, let's just triple check this.
Yeah.
So like, that's fine. Okay, no
I think
worries.
what I
Thanks.
mean by that is that the judges will decide on the special category awards over and
Yeah.
above the EDGE awards.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Get clarity on that, sorry.
I had a question.
Oh, yep.
Hi. If you're going for Wildcard and you're in the process of securing a contract, but you won't have it by the time of 11th of September, but you may well have it by November, what do you do about that? Just state potential contract, or do I
Yes.
need to get the contract?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, state potential, because when you submit your application at the closing date, if you haven't secured it by then you can only submit the information up to that point. But you can put down there potentially securing a contract in the future.
And see, for the video, when is that to be done by?
That has to be done by the closing date as well, 11th of
September. Okay, right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi guys, sorry, I was trying to raise my hand, but I can't find a way to raise my hand. If you've got two startup businesses, one that's focused on AI and one that's focused on analytics, so they were separate businesses, can both those businesses apply, or is it based on the directors and founders level for applications?
Yeah, only one business can apply per round, unfortunately.
Perfect.
So you had to
No,
choose.
I thought that was the case. Just double checking. Just thought I'd try and double my odds.
No worries, Chris.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll go back to the chat then. So if a registered company address is outside of Scotland, but the physical base and all operations would be carried out in Scotland, would this exclude the company from applying?
No, because if the headquarters is going to be here and the jobs are going to be created here, then that's okay. But make sure that's clear in your application.
Okay. Okay, so I'm the female MD of the business and I have a 50% shareholding. There are two directors, myself and my husband. Does this meet the criteria for female-led, or should I have more equity?
No, female-led is fine. That's okay. If it's 50%, that's fine. So you're a major shareholder, so that's okay. That qualifies for Pathways.
I mean, you could have said to her that, yeah, she has to have 51%, because then she could have negotiated a better split between her husband.
Yeah, don't get me started in the 50% thing, Gemma. That's a whole
So can you apply for less than 100k, and does this impact your chances?
You can apply for whatever your business needs to grow it to the level you want to get it to, and it does not affect your chances whether you apply for 50,000 or 100,000. It's entirely up to you how much you need to get your business to 200,000 over the next 3 years.
Just a question about innovation. You're very focused on innovative practices and stuff. If you're working in a section of the economy which needs to be developed more or has more potential, would that count as innovation? For instance, the halal economy?
Yes, if your product or service shows that you're thinking differently and you're potentially looking to disrupt an industry, then that is classed as innovation. That's what we're looking for. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so another one, if essentially asking if you're not going to be generating revenue for a couple of years, but you still feel that you're going to generate the required amount by year 3, the 200k, are you at a disadvantage because you've got that bit of delay?
No, as long as you can show if you've got a funding gap in that delay, how you're going to keep the business going. So let me give you an example. If you secure £100,000 from EDGE and you're 3 years from revenue, if you burn through that 100k and you've got a gap before you get to revenue, and you can't explain in your future funding plans how you're going to fill that gap, then judges would see that as a challenge, and that may negatively affect your score. But if you predict you're going to burn through your 100k within the 2 years, and you've started the process of raising equity investment, and you can detail what that journey is going to look like, and you can fill that funding gap, then that's a positive look at how you're going to keep your business going.
Perfect. So we are planning to do an MVP first in the 6 months and then take the MVP to the market for the brand identity and for A/B testing. Do I have to plan financial projections from the MVP or after the entire project is finished for full sales?
That is a good question. I don't know how much you're asking for, but whatever you're asking for, if that's to do MVP, customer validation, and get you to market, then you have to explain that whole process. But if you're asking for amount to get you to MVP, then just explain what happens once you've got that MVP. So for example, if you're coming into a wildcard, you want 10K for MVP, what does that look like? What does success look like? Because maybe the idea is you've got a young or a wild, you'll do that piece of work and then you'll come back into Scottish Edge. Because the young and the wild is designed in such a way that you take that grant, you build, measure, learn, you do your MVP, and then you come back in a future round for a Scottish Edge award to go on and start growing the business. If you're coming to Scottish Edge to build the MVP, generate sales, build a team, grow a company, you have to explain that whole process in your application.
Okay, thank you. So if a business has already been given grant funding to deliver a project, but has no other trading activities, can it be considered pre-trading?
Yes, grant funding is not classed as trading. Only sales revenue from paid customers, from paid trials, is classed as trading. So grant funding is not classed as trading.
Perfect, thank you. Just to follow up from Gemma saying the point about the 200K additional revenue, what is the time period for that?
3 years after your Edge award goes in. So if you're trading, that's the first 3 years after you're trading. If you're pre-trading, it's from when you start trading, you can show that additional 200K over a 3-year period.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't quite catch before. If you're pre-trading and you get a contract, does that mean you're trading, or does it go to the start of the contract? Or
your trading starts from the start of the contract.
Right, okay.
If that's your first customer, your trading starts from the start of the contract.
Right, okay.
Okay, someone from Victoria. I have some questions regarding the Young Edge. I am a sole trader and I'm also eligible for the special award category. No, am I also applicable for the special category awards? I'm not sure I'm picking up right. Sorry, my question jumped up there. And with the finance aspect of the application, do I also have to evidence the ambition to generate 200K?
Yes. So all applicants have to generate ambition of 200K, whether you're asking for 10,000 or 100,000. That can be tougher for young and wild, but that's your ambition. And the judges take that into consideration depending on how much you're asking for. Going back to the first point, the special category awards are only available to the Scottish Edge category, not available for young and wild.
Okay, again on 200K. So just is the projections based on the assumption that you're getting Edge funding or without Edge funding?
Yes, good point. This is based on, and it's in the application, this is based on you securing the funding. So if you get this money, show how it's going to take you to 200K or beyond.
Okay, I've been self-employed in a service-led business for a few years, but soon to become a limited company and ready to scale up with employees. Can I use this as my first start date for trading?
If it's the start date of the limited company, so if you've been sole trading and you're creating a new limited company, the limited company that you're applying with will be the start of the trading.
I think I've covered everything in the chat. If I've missed anything, please let me know. Or if anyone wants to turn on a mic and ask another question, feel free. Sorry, another question came in there, sorry. Would we be disadvantaged if we apply for 100K support as part of a wider fundraising requirement of, say, 3 million? And to what extent, sorry, question came in, and to what extent would the 100K have to be specifically allocated to a milestone within the technology development pathway?
So all asks have to be specific in what the money is going to be allocated towards. And to just clarify that point, Scottish Edge Awards cannot be used to spend on wages for existing directors or employees. So it has to go towards additional growth of the business, whether that's product development, whether that's staff, whether that's marketing. How's that going to actually grow your business? And on the first point, yes, Scottish Edge can be used as part of a larger funding package. We can be sometimes the first in, we can be the first funder of a business, and then you go on and raise investment after that. But we can also be part of a bigger funding round. So judges will look at that favourably because you're planning, you know, how you're actually going to do. If you need 3 million to take us to where you need it to go, and you can clearly articulate how you're going to get there and what progress you have made, then the judges will look on that favourably.
Okay, and so if you're a university student currently at the idea stage, are you still eligible to apply for wildcard?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. And someone they're not sure what category, they fit quite a few categories. Can they follow up with someone to have a discussion about what they should go for, essentially?
Yeah. Email me directly, kevin.walls@scottishedge.com. Happy to have a quick chat and give some guidance on which category you're looking for, or which category would suit you best.
Yeah, okay, one from Kevin. I have a detailed idea and a business plan, and I'm ready to build a software as a service prototype, but don't currently have a technical co-founder. In regard to the application, should I, one, build an MVP myself using no-code apps, then apply next time, get a tech co-founder first and build the MVP, then apply next time, or 3, apply now with just the idea before putting together the MVP and get support from Scottish Edge?
This sounds like a whole consultancy session, so I'm
Yeah.
going to break this down and make this quite simple. It really depends on the category you're applying for. If you're applying for a young or a wild for a 10K, that's okay, because you're very early stage, you've got an idea, you want to move this forward and then come back in for main edge. If you're looking for £100,000 and you don't have a tech co-founder and you're very early stage, you have to convince the judges that you've got enough experience, you've got enough access to support and skills that can move this forward towards getting a tech co-founder. To summarise, you don't need a tech co-founder to succeed at Scottish Edge and building a tech company. You're the visionary, you're the leader, you're the one the judges have to believe in can deliver this. So you don't necessarily need to have a tech co-founder beside you to secure an Edge Award.
Okay.
All right. I have a, sorry, I just missed a little bit earlier. I already am trading, and I'm on year 2 in trading. However, we are developing a product that we're going to launch, and my question is, because of my finances, I'm on year 2, and you said I would have 3 years. And in the finances, I need to make 200K from getting the funds.
Yep.
Or not 3 years on my, not 200K. I can reach 200K before the 3 year. I mean, on year 1, but that's fine. In that case, it's not my total stretch of finances, 200K.
No,
it's from I get fundings, 3 years.
So Douglas, just to be clear, if you secure an Edge Award in November 2024, the money will probably come to you December 2024. So we'd looking for 200K over 25, 26, 27.
Ah, okay. That's fine. Thank you. That's good to know.
Jack, any other chat questions?
I think that's us, unless anyone's got anything to add.
Okay, I don't see any hands up. I think we're good to go. Thank you, everyone. First of all, thank you, Leslie, for coming along today as a guest speaker and hopefully giving lots of good information on the circular economy. I personally found that very useful, so thank you for that. Thanks to Jack for handling the chat. It looks like you got overrun there at one point, but you recovered well, Jack, so well done there. If anyone's got any specific questions, my email address is kevin.walls@scottishedge.com. I will do my best to get back to you, but I do get inundated after these application workshops, so please bear with me if I'm slow to respond. But drop me a note if you want to have a quick chat about anything specific. The window is open. Please take my advice. Get your application in for the 10th of September, not the 11th. Don't leave it to the last minute. Get it in. Don't leave yourself the stress of the last day, because applications will not be accepted after 2 p.m. on the 11th, because I then get 3 days to turn everything around and get them out to the judges. So please take that final piece of advice. Thank you for joining, everyone, and good luck.